Hello, everyone, and welcome to Wild Moments brought to you by Explore.org. We have none other than the very monochromatic Ben Coley with us.
I am looking a little bit black and white, aren't I? But it's hiding my lack of tan, perhaps.
I mean, you look very tanned compared to your background.
Well, that's maybe what I was going for. So, but yes, it is a little battleship grey, isn't it? But I've got some elephant cushions at least.
I see that. I think it looks quite nice, Ben. If I were you, I might take some headshots while you're at it.
Yeah,
How are
my
you doing?
my safari modelling career.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you, Trish. I hope you're surviving down there in Cape Town. It's beautiful weather up here in Hoedspruit, clear skies, which makes me very happy, obviously. And yeah, lovely temperatures for this time of year.
Well, that's just dandy, isn't it? Over here in Cape Town, it's awful, everyone. But I won't show it to you because the 50-kilometer winds are not gusting yet. If they come along, I'll show you all. But welcome to everyone. I hope that you are having a nice, warm day or night or evening wherever you are in the world. Ben and I, we have our teas. We decided to go for a tea party just when we were doing checks. What tea do you have today, Ben?
I have classic, good old black tea with milk and sugar. I'm not a fan of all these fancy ones. It's nice to be now and again, but you can't beat good old-fashioned tea. That's the Englishman talking in me.
That is true, and I agree with you. Although today I'm terribly off course. I've got some ginger, lemon, turmeric, honey tea here, all fresh.
I
I
quite like
stood
one of
in the
those flavored teas in the evening.
I think it's appropriate given the suffering that I'm going through here at Cape Town. Anyway,
Well,
we
not
have
to
a couple.
soothe you.
Exactly. I'm at home, everyone. I know my background's different, but it's just too cold upstairs in my office. So I'm down in the dining room with the heater where there's tea freely available, and it's nice and warm. And remember that we're live and interactive, and we've already got some hellos coming through. Please do tell us how it is in your part of the world. Tell us how you're enjoying the show today, because we've got lots of cool clips to go to, and I'm betting we're going to have to take a sip or two between them because they're very cool. Let's start at the top. Well, first, Bridget McKinney says hello. Hello, Bridget. Thank you for joining us. Casper's Third Ghost says good day to us and to everyone. You're lurking from Milwaukee. I kind of like the term lurking. I know it sort of has a negative connotation, but I like it. I like it.
It's almost onomatopoeic, isn't it? Lurking. It's something
Exactly.
nice about saying it.
Yeah. What are you doing? Even if you said I'm irking, it gave the same feeling. Onomatopoeia, everyone. W. Bouchard, you say hello from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Hello, thank you for joining us. Zygote says namaste. Namaste to you too, Zygote. Kauru, with your milk as usual. Hello. Tris Visop says greetings, everyone. So hot here today. The fan and water on the rocks. Essentials. Very nice. Very, very nice. All right, shall we get right into it? The first one is very interesting. I can't say I've ever seen porcupines mate before, but there's always a first time for everything. So let's go have a look. Looks uncomfortable.
It is a prickly proposition, as we would say.
Prickly proposition indeed.
And I think what we potentially can't see is that she should, if what the books say are correct, she should have a tail curled up, which will offer a little bit of protection. But yeah, be careful, buddy.
Oh, there was an interesting. She's still doing. There's an interesting movement, sort of around
Hmm.
her belly quarters. It almost looked like they were having a discussion there.
Giving him some instructions. I like the way his spines move in coordinated fashion.
It's so hard to say anything
It
without
is. You've
giggling
got
a
to be,
little.
we've got, yeah, you have to be so careful about how we professionally describe what we're seeing here.
But I did the movement of the spines was really interesting there, and I suppose that mating in general across most animal forms takes contraction of muscles in the body, and I suppose that when that happens, it's pulling on parts that are not even involved in the reproduction at all
Mm.
or in the mating at all. I think there we can kind of see her tail lift up. There we go.
Yeah, of course, a well-known fact as well. Not that I could substantiate it, but the male is blessed with the appropriate. How are we going to put this? That he doesn't have to get quite as close as perhaps some other animals would do as a defensive mechanism against all those spines.
And that makes complete sense. I did, I suppose, a disservice to myself, but I'm going to share it with all of you. I again trying very hard to say the things I need to say without sounding strange. But I went ahead and Googled what the genitalia of a porcupine looks like because it can be very interesting, and we know that different shapes and different parts like having barbs and things like that could correlate or can affect the actual mating process. And so I kind of went down that hole, unfortunately, and I ended up looking at an echidna penis. It is four pronged. Just thought I'm not going to sit with that information on my own. Thank you very much. Now all of you are going to have to sit with that information. But I thought that was really interesting. I've never seen porcupines mate. I mean, for one, the most porcupines I've seen have been here in Cape Town on bin days when rubbish is going to be collected, and they just kind of walk around. But out in the bush, I've only seen a porcupine twice. And it's only been on its own. So let alone a pair, or let alone mating. Haven't seen it. Have you?
No, I've never seen them mating. I've been lucky enough to see a few porcupines on night drives. I actually went out on a night drive for about 4 or 5 days ago and was lucky enough to not only see a porcupine, but I'm going to throw it out there as a welcome back gift have on my return to Hoodsbury. I also saw an aardvark that ran across the road, which was pretty spectacular and a big welcome back to the bush, certainly. But yeah, we got a fleeting glimpse of a porcupine, and often where I live here, because there's quite a few wildlife estates, as you said, on they have learnt that people leave messes around. They do come and sniff around the bins, and there are a few here. I know people who live in those estates who have, I don't want to say tame porcupines, but they come past most evenings and they come right up to the windows and to the doors. So there are opportunities to see them over here. But no, I have never seen mating porcupines, and even out on a traditional game reserve where there is a little bit more pressure of apex predators, shall we see, and nocturnal competition. No, it's something that you might get, or I would normally expect to see maybe once every few months if I'm lucky, and then it's just a quick glimpse.
Exactly. It's almost always fleeting. So getting
Mm.
to see them mate is really astonishing. And what I find, and I don't like this, but it is, I guess, just one of those unfortunate things about learning, is that when you don't see an animal often, you don't get to have in-depth knowledge about it because nothing is triggering your questioning in your mind. And so that's how it is with me and porcupines mating. Yes, I can tell you the general biology of porcupines, but now I want to know more, which I think is a wonderful thing about the cameras. And well, we do have a couple questions coming through. Zygote wanted to know how many kids could they have. I think their litter is 2 to 4 ish. I think the average is two. And their little ones are called porcupets. which I think is very cute. It is very, very cute. Um, Jive Bunny, you say, I'm trying to be sensible and not laugh. Yes, we're all trying that, okay? We're all trying very hard. Tris Vissop, you say they should undress before the act. I mean, that should be an unwritten rule. Jive Bunny, you say, how
It
do
almost, I
porcupines?
was actually thinking it looked a little bit like they had like a hula skirt on, particularly the
Yeah,
male there.
he did, definitely. And giving it a
But I
good old
would say
shake.
those were two of some of the most good-looking porcupines I've seen. Just the way all their hair was sort of swept back. I don't recall ever seeing such good-looking porcupines. So maybe they did quaff themselves for a night on the camera.
Maybe because also, when he kind of pushed his spines out to look like a peacock almost, it was so even, like it was as if it had been trimmed. Yeah, it was very good
Poster
looking.
children of the porcupine world, obviously.
Exactly. Jive Bunny, you say, how do porcupines mate? Very carefully. That is absolutely correct. And Mindy Tillipau, you say it looks very dangerous. Some animals like to live dangerously. We do not recommend any type of imitation. Don't do it. Okay, moving on.
Moving on.
There was like actual biology that I wanted to talk about, I think. Oh, I read just before when I was doing the unfortunate Googling. I was reading about how many litters they could have. And it's usually once a year, usually during the rainy season. But they go through about 100 days of anestrus that's brought on by the fact that they're lactating. And then they go through about 4 or 5 cycles of a false estrus. And that's what keeps the timing correct so that they end up in the rainy reproducing during the rainy season each year. And I thought that was really interesting because we know that many animals, even if they don't have a particular rutting season or a breeding season per se, they tend to time their births with the most resources. But we say that, and I say it often as well as a guide, but I didn't know the mechanism of how are they keeping that time. And so it was interesting about the lactation, the anestrus and the lactation, the false estrus, and that making up that time. Just thought it was um, a little better understanding of how they keep at it every year. Oh, okay. Hellos, and then the next clip, everyone. Everyone get their laughter and giggles out. Andy says, good day, everyone. Porcupines, watch your step, please. They were certainly watching their step. Dear NC said, good morning from sunny and hot Seattle. You're ready with some strong coffee. Yes. Amber Co is here with a grateful and an excited heart. Very nice. You're sipping your coffee, and a big thank you to everyone. It's very appreciated. Thank you, Amber Co. April Al says, good morning, all from a humid Connecticut. Ginger lemon iced tea in hand. Happy to be here. Ginger lemon warm tea. Besties.
I have an empty cup of tea now. I misjudged my tea making and timings.
I've got about half left, but it's getting cool. And then NW Girl says, hello from Oregon, where we just came out of a triple-digit heat wave. Nice, but better than family in Houston who are still without power from Beryl. Love these porcupines, and we hope that your family stays warm and safe. Okay, on to the next one. Let's head over to Aldonio, where there's always some excitement, and this time it's between some elephants and some zebra.
really nice picture to show the size difference. I think it's slightly skewed in terms of perspective, but it does put it into perspective a little bit. Oh,
Sorry, then we couldn't actually hear you over all this the commotion.
I was waiting for that. I was waiting for the elephants to do something about it. I thought they were somewhat passive uh, in light of what was happening.
Yeah, it's almost like they let it go on for too long, and then the zebras got too crazy, and then you had to come and do something. Oh, there we go again.
It was very nice to see I assume, the two stallions rearing up against one another there. It's always a great photograph to look out for. But yeah, zebras notoriously cantankerous in big groups.
Mm. Oh, when they were standing on their hind legs.
Mm.
Oh yeah, that was stunning. Well, so this is a really good example of when the collective noun, or you think about the collective noun of a dazzle, you're really not sure where one zebra starts and the other one ends.
Yeah, you can really see the origins of this optical illusion. But it's always interesting to be how when something like this happens with zebras, because obviously this is not one giant herd of zebra. This is to be multiple harems of stallions and mares, and there's inevitably going to be some conflict. But yeah, we'll see how they react with this elephant coming in.
I could feel his frustration there. Like, get out! Can you just
Yes,
move?
yeah, go somewhere else and cause chaos, please. It's a very nice body language from that elephant of a frustrated, irritated elephant, the head high, the cocked tail. Play the role of the disciplinarian.
Yes. I still feel he's still irritated. He's only blowing the water into his mouth. And
Mm.
whenever they make a movement, he's still kind of pushing his ears out a little bit.
Yeah, he's being a little bit more tolerant than I would normally expect, and I would have thought, particularly when the clip first started. I mean, it's almost like you said, these three elephants were just watching this with this really seriously, fine, we'll move. And then somebody lost his patience for a little while and came back and chased everybody. But I think I think you said you couldn't quite hear me properly, but I really enjoyed that first bit of that clip. I think there was a bit of a perspective issue, but you could really see how big a big bull elephant was next to those little zebra. I think he was slightly closer to us, but I really put it into perspective the size of these things.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something that is we don't get to do very often. And when you say to somebody, oh, an elephant is this is a 4-ton elephant, or this is a 3-ton elephant, and this elephant is 3 meters tall, it doesn't really mean anything unless you can visualize what that is, especially within its environment. Is that as tall as a marula tree? Is it as tall as a? Is it taller than a zebra? Is it as tall as a giraffe? And when we get that perspective, it just helps to pull what you hear into the real situation.
Yeah, but really interesting to watch. And so it's always fun to watch a big group of zebra come down to have a drink there because they are just constantly biting and kicking and throwing hooves around and the vocalizations as well. It's always a really exciting thing to watch when you get such large groups. And of course, a lot of infighting potentially between males, maybe taking the opportunity to steal. mares from other stallions, and but yeah, very entertaining to watch. And less of the elephant, who yeah, I think kudos to the elephant for tolerating it as long as they did.
And so I have been watching that Eldonio waterhole for the last
Mm.
couple of weeks, and we've been seeing a lot of this, a lot of elephant action, or the elephant bulls just hang around there, and then the zebras come in, and it's almost always chaotic. It's never just a couple zebras at a time coming to the waterhole. And I think that what you were saying, it's very often when we see these large groups, it's not one big herd of zebras. So already it's not about the resource of the water. There's already other issues going on, and there's this high energy, and the elephants just unfortunately have to put up with it or not, depending on their particular attitude at that time. But that was very cool. Jack de Boer, you say you've never seen them do that before? Oh, oh my goodness!
What's this?
We have a leopard. Which camera is this at, Kirsten? Because this is live happening right now.
This
Oh, it's
line.
Jabulani. Here we go. The messages just came through. Oh, nice.
Oh, spectacular.
Oh, this is so cool. I love it when something's live on the camera, something special while we're going through wild moments. Oh, Andy, you spotted it, huh? You say, shame it's not Tuesday's show because there was a leopard at Jabulani, but no need for shame here because Kirsten's on it. She sent us straight there. It looks like a female.
There's
I'm not
lovely color. I'm
sure.
not sure if it's the saturation on the camera, but it looks like quite dark colored as well. Very sort of rich orange,
Hmm.
particularly on the back. It may just be the shadow, but lovely markings.
Oh, she looks beautiful. Do we know this leopard? I know the Jabulani cam is not one that I know very well. It's not a camera that I spend a lot of time on. But Kirst did say that you often see a female with a cub here. There's a leopardess
Hmm.
named Shudulu. So we're not sure if this is her, but apparently Shudulu has a scar over one of her eyes, and now she's closing them, so we can't even tell.
Common name for
Ben,
leopard, Shadulu, of course, meaning termite mound.
yes,
I know two or three Shadulus.
yeah, I like the name, I must say.
It is. It rolls off the tongue nicely, doesn't it?
Hmm,
Shadulu.
Shudulu. Ben, have you? I'm guessing if you saw an aardvark, you would have already seen a leopard since you've been back. Yes.
Well, do you know what I can actually say? Yes, I have. It was I was lucky enough to go into Kruger National Park the other day to do some work. I had to drive down towards Chukwan's Kukuza side, and on the way back the following morning, so it would have been Monday morning, I think. There was a young male leopard right next to the tar road who had killed something. We couldn't see too much. He was mostly in a bush, but popped his head out once or twice. Unfortunately, being on a tar road, it was quite busy, so it wasn't the most um, peaceful of sightings. But yes, I can officially say that I have seen a leopard since I've been back. So I've been very lucky. I've had roaring lions. I had a lioness walk past me on a deserted road in Kruger, and yeah, a young male leopard right next to the road. So very, very special.
Nice. And now you
Nice.
get a
Now
leopard
we're all like
right.
this, staring at the screen.
Yeah. Oh, she was beautiful. I'd like to get to know her better.
Yeah, that was an
Jack de Boer,
unexpected but lovely surprise.
exactly just like the bush. It's so unexpected. Jack de Boer, you say, "Wow, cool leopard indeed." Hopefully, she sticks around and she becomes someone that we see very, very often. So the clip that we were looking at just before, the one at Aldonio, Jive Bunny says, "Never get on the wrong side of elephants, you zebra." You tell them, Jive Bunny. You tell them. And what I also found interesting about that clip is that, and it's something you see with other animals as well, is that when there's a lot of infighting or conspecific fighting, then sometimes they can be so wrapped up in that, like two herds fighting each other, that the situational awareness kind of goes out the door. And the elephants tried to chase them away, and then they started fighting amongst themselves again, and then ran straight into the water hole. It's not the best because it also leaves you vulnerable, but it was amusing to watch. All right, let's have a look at our next clip. This is a very nice one. I think it was a pied kingfisher. Is it a pied kingfisher? Let me double check. Never mind, I can't double check, but it's a kingfisher with a fish. It is a pied kingfisher. Yay!
Like a
So
baby
this was at
catfish. She's got
yeah, and a very very baby one.
yeah. It's still amazing how they can. I mean, this is not a big thing. They can swallow bigger things than this, but how something that big disappears into such a tiny bird has
Yeah,
always amazed me.
absolutely, and she looks proud of herself. Yeah? Oh, that's really
Understandably so. Is it a catfish? I'm not sure if it is a catfish. Now I have a look at it. It
yeah,
looked like it from the underside, but the rest of the body didn't look right. I don't see those little barbels on the bottom there. I thought the shape, the silhouette shape didn't look quite right there, but I'm not that good with fish. I have to say it's not one of my strong points. So we're going to see her. Oh, there we go. I was about to wonder if we're going to see her smacking it around. But yeah, to then swallow that and how it disappears into such a small body is amazing.
and also how dexterous they are with their beaks to be able to maneuver it to just the right position and then get it down.
Takes you back to Mr. Miyagi and his chopsticks and take one of those flies out.
Exactly. Oh, that's a good bash. When it went on its, when we saw that side angle of it, of the fish, then I wondered if it ooh, okay. I wondered
Wow,
if it could
that's
look a
it
little
showed you
bit
the force
tilapia.
there.
Yeah. Oh, there it goes.
Oh, it's got stuck. Well, but
And
yeah, how
yeah,
that digestive system it can deal with that, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure many people know they have that sort of proventriculus, the first part of the stomach, and then the grinding gizzard because they don't have teeth because teeth are heavy. Um, but yeah, how the stomach is able to deal with something so long. It's not so much the size, but you must think it must be sort of half in one stomach and half in another stomach at any one time. I'd love to see some sort of X-ray CAT scan type
yep.
thing of something that's eaten a really long fish as to how it's actually fitted into those intestines or
Oh
the
yeah,
stomach.
that would be that would be a hard thing to
Gross, but
do. But
interesting.
we could well, I'll see if I can organize something. Well, you never know. The amount, unfortunately, of dead birds that you find. Actually, in the Sami Sand, I don't see very many. But in reserves where there are um, particularly self-drive reserves, you tend to find a lot of dead birds. And if you're lucky, um, and you happen to have a dissection kit with you, maybe you don't need an X-ray.
True. Yeah, I haven't considered dissecting roadkill, but I suppose I could do if I was that curious. Feels a bit extreme, but an option.
It's not extreme.
We did it once with a chameleon, actually, that we found. Gave that a very brief autopsy. I was working for one of the training providers, and one of the students was a vet. So we found a dead chameleon and did have a closer inspection of that, and it was really fascinating. I'm not going to lie, to see the tongue, and we actually discovered it was a female, and there were eggs, and that was really interesting.
That's what I love about dissections, is that it's real life examples. You see it right in front of you. You get to touch and feel and see how things connect. And there really is no replacement for that. You can read as much as you want and get an understanding, but once you see it in front of you and feel it and touch it, and it makes things it makes it sit in your brain much better. Um, I recently, like 6 months ago, found a roadkill of a slender mongoose. And so it was very fresh, except I didn't know it was very fresh until I picked it up. But either way, I managed to got to dissecting it. I actually thought it would be nice to have the skull, to have a look at the skull and clean it up, but the skull was unfortunately crushed. But one thing that I took away from that was I felt the tongue. And the tongue was so barbed, you could see each one of the individual barbs sticking out of the tongue, and so rough. And it was not something I would have expected, not like that. It was really obvious. I thought they would be finer, but it was big and heavy barbs on that tongue.
Hmm.
Pretty interesting stuff. But now we digress. And Mindy Tillabau, you say, "Look, Ma, no hands." Exactly. Look, Ma, no hands for hundreds of thousands of years now, or millions of years, actually. Jive Bunny, you say, "Bitten off more than it can swallow." Well, it proved you wrong. It swallowed that whole. And that's it, everyone. Those were some really cool clips. Thanks for joining us, Ben. It's always a pleasure to have a tea party with you and with all of you.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you, everyone, for joining us as well.
Yes, and we'll see you again soon. Remember, go to the Jabulani cam, can't speak, too cold, and have a look at the leopard and tell us whether it is Shudulu. Anyway, thanks everyone. Bye.
Bye.